The very first team event in Major League show jumping as well, a format designed to take it right to the wire, and it certainly did, with two Irish riders riding off against each other as part of their respective teams. The Eye Candy team up against the eventual winners, which was the Lucky Charms.
Early into the week, the big 5-star classes and 2 stars. Into the weekend, it is the 2-star Grand Prix, and culminating too in the TraverseCity.com 5-star Grand Prix.
And in that very first 5-star Grand Prix here in Traverse City as part of the Major League show jumping, it was Alex Granato crowning an amazing week with 2 major wins, both on the brilliantly fast Calcium W, including taking Sunday's showpiece.
Great to have that tourism support here as well, whether out on the lakes or here in the orchards. It is an absolutely stunning place to be, and of course to eat as well. So who will be putting a cherry on the top this week of a great performance? You'll just have to join us. Coming up for you this week, we ramp it up to another level. Saturday, the team competition once again. Can we build on those amazing battles of last week? And a few rivalries now to be settled.
Debuting the very first team event in Major League show jumping as well, a format designed to take it right to the wire, and it certainly did, with 2 Irish riders riding off against each other as part of their respective teams. The Eye Candy team up against the eventual winners, which was the Lucky Charms.
Early into the week,
I saw your shadow running round. It's funny how things never change in this old town. So far from the stars. And I wanna tell you everything, the words I never got to see the first time around. And I remember everything from when we were the children playing in this fairground. Shall I stay with you now? Shall I stay with you now? Moved on with someone who, in the pub that we met, he's got his arms around you. It's so hard, so hard. And I wanna tell you everything, words I never got to say the first time around. And I remember everything when we were the children playing in this fairground. Shall I stay with you now? Shall I stay with you now? Nothing left to fill the spaces. I got nothing but a center coming undone. I've been doing circles and it shows. Every cloud in the sky, every place that I hide, tell me that I was wrong to let you go. Every side got nothing but a center coming undone. I've been doing circles and it shows. It's the little things that make you crazy, like the thought of someone touching your skin. I can see you everywhere I go. Every cloud, yellow sky, every place that I hide. Tell me that I was wrong to let you go. Every sound that I feel, every thought that I feel. Tell me that I was wrong. I was wrong to let you go. I've been too I've been to all the familiar places. I've been running like a sentence, never begun. I've been to all I've been to all the familiar places. I got nothing left to fill the spaces. I got nothing but a center coming undone. I got nothing left to fill the spaces. I got nothing.
I've been thinking, is it worth it? I don't know. We've been searching for an answer. We've gone down every single road. Looking glass of fantasy, clouded in desire. Wander through our memories, oh what they hold. You and I, there's so much we've been through. Oh yeah, but all this time, still counting dreams with you, you and I. There's so much we've been through. Oh yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to kick off our $72,900 Premier Equestrian 1m50, part of this CSI 5-star Major League Show Jumping event. Please do turn your attention to the video board. We have a reminder of the exciting weekend of competition that we have in store over the next few days.
Coming up for you this week, we ramp it up to another level. Saturday, the team competition once again. Can we build on those amazing battles of last week? And a few rivalries now to be settled.
Debuting the very first team event in Major League show jumping as well, a format designed to take it right to the wire, and it certainly did, with two Irish riders riding off against each other as part of their respective teams. The Eye Candy team up against the eventual winners, which was the Lucky Charms.
Early into the week, the big 5-star classes and 2 stars. Into the weekend, it is the 2-star Grand Prix, and culminating too in the TraverseCity.com 5-star Grand Prix.
And in that very first 5-star Grand Prix here in Traverse City as part of the Major League show jumping, it was Alex Granato crowning an amazing week with 2 major wins, both on the brilliantly fast Calcium W, including taking Sunday's showpiece.
Great to have that tourism support here as well. Whether out on the lakes or here in the orchards, it is an absolutely stunning place to be. And of course, to eat as well. So who will be putting a cherry on the top this week of a great performance? You'll just have to join us and wait and see.
Well, we'd very much like to thank Premier Equestrian, the sponsor of today's $72,900 5-star competition. Please turn your attention to the video board for a message from our sponsor.
When every second counts, the surface matters. Premier Equestrian features Pro-Tex footing product and Auto Sport base mats. Mats absorb up to 40% of the concussion. Pro-Tex provides maximum stability. Premier Equestrian is the official footing partner of Major League show jumping. Contact us about your arena at premierequestrian.com.
Well, a huge thank you indeed to Premier Equestrian for their continued support. Now, once again in 2021, Traverse City Horse Shows is proud to partner with Captive One Advisors to offer a $30,000 rider bonus for open jumper riders. The bonus is determined based on the points accumulated in classes offering $25,000 or more in prize money throughout the summer months. And the bonus will be awarded following the American Gold Cup Grand Prix in September. After competition this morning, here is how the leaderboard looks.
The Captive One leading rider bonus and week 2 of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival. Carl Cook looking to build on those 2 Grand Prix wins already this season, and with a good solid run throughout the 5-star week, kept him well up the points. The man that dominated though with 2 major wins including the 5-star Grand Prix was Alex Granato and Calcium W, unbelievably fast all week, and cometh the hour, cometh the man, and now cometh the points. Top of the podium, and maybe at the end of the season we'll just have to wait and see. But he climbs swiftly, as does Carl Cook. Carl now into 2nd place behind Katie Laurie, and their Alex Granato now making it onto the leaderboard.
Well, thank you so much to Captive One for their continued sponsorship of the rider bonus, as they have for the last 3 or 4 years. Captive Insurance is more than coverage, it's ownership. A Captive Insurance company is owned by you and provides coverage for your business's specific risks in instances where traditional insurance proves either unavailable or unaffordable. Through prudent claims administration and sound investment policies, a Captive Insurance company protects your bottom line. You can learn more about Captive One, a Traverse City Horse Show sponsor, at captiveone.com. Now let's take a look at the course that they are going to contest for this $72,900 Premier Equestrian prize pot. Olaf Peterson setting the course, and he's set on this occasion 13 numbered fences and 16 jumping efforts. They're going to start in the middle of the arena, away from the jury tower and towards the in-out gate over the Cabana Coast vertical at fence number 1. Then it's going to be a left-handed turn to that Oxer, big old Oxer, as fence number 2, the Premier Equestrian feature fence there. Then that swinging left-handed turn. They'll be moving along for sure to the Michigan Lighthouses, the vertical at 3, before then turning right in front of the VIP Hospitality to the Net Jets double. Oxer going in, 2 non-jumping strides, and the vertical coming out. Then it's the Unicorns, a roll back to the Unicorns at fence number 5, and then the first of the Liverpool fences, the Southern Arches Liverpools at fence number 6. Another left-handed turn to the Maya Oxer, that's fence 7, and again a big Oxer there, before the triple bar, the Major League Show Jumping triple bar at 8, and again that's away from the ramp into the arena. The related distance then to the plank, the Turtle Creek Casino plank, that could certainly be influential, before the Just World skinny fence back towards the VIP at fence number 10. There's another line still, the Major League flags, Canada, the United States and Mexico. Each of the stops for the Major League, of course, at the Oxer, and then another related distance down to the triple combination, the Captive 1 triple, vertical Oxer and vertical at 12A, 12B and 12C. It's not over then, because then there's another turn to the left before the final fence. Fence number 13, the Eagles, the American Eagles, with the Liverpool underneath. That's the course. Of course, it's 4 faults for a knockdown, 4 faults for a first refusal, and elimination for the second refusal or circle anywhere on course. Those equal first after that initial round, progressing to a shortened course. That course 2, 3, 15, 1, 9, 12 AB and 13 to finish, where time will separate all ties. Very, very best of luck indeed. It is 82 seconds that time allowed. In excess of that, it is a time penalty.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, here we are coming to you live from Traverse City, Michigan, where we have had an incredible spring and summer of competition so far. And a little bit of luck coming our way today. They were calling for rain earlier on, and we have yet to see that materialize, thank goodness, because we've been able to keep on moving here with these great events, including our upcoming 5-star $72,900 Premier Equestrian Meter 50 class. We'll let you know right off the bat, the 10th in the order is a scratch, bringing us down to a total of 39 starters here today. It's going to be a first round with everyone, possibly a jump off with those who are tied for first place. And we'll start off with definitely a star of Mexico. He's had wins all over the map. He has been a winner here in the U.S., Spruce Meadows, throughout his stops in Mexico, and he's also represented at the World Games, Olympic Games, and the Central American Games as well. It is Nicholas Pizarro here aboard Oak Grove's Enkidu, number 2183. Rider who has been many times already this season in the top 3 placings here in Traverse City. And with Michael Morrissey again, my name is Brian Lookabill. Glad to be with you as we're watching this first one already halfway around the course. And there's going to be some tricky spots here, Michael, as we discussed a little while ago.
Yeah, I think coming up now to the Major League Show Jumping Triple Bar, this is really tricky line. It walks 5 or 6 strides to the plank. Then it's a very flat 4 afterwards. There's the flat 5. Makes this 4 not so flat. Did that very well. I know a lot of riders are contemplating between 5 or 6 to that plank. Come over to fence number 11, big square Oxer, 6 strides, a little bit up. Scopy B, short 1 coming out at C. And it's 8 strides he does to the last jump for a clear round.
And that's going to be a clear right off the bat, giving us a lot of hope for a jump off here today. Should we have a tie for first place, we will see a jump off, and I have a good feeling about that, especially when you look down the list here and you see the quality of riders who are with us, including our upcoming rider who's had several wins already this season as well here in Traverse City, Michigan. It's going to be Kristen Vanderveen coming up. Kristen was a runner-up in the previous class. Now joining us here aboard Bull Run's Prince of Peace. One of her many rides out of the Bull Run Jumpers operation. And she's now based in Wellington, Florida, originally out of Illinois. Kristen riding this 12-year-old bay Holsteiner gelding by Cardinho. And again, she had victories already this season in several Grand Prix in Wellington and Tryon. Came here to Traverse City to win as well. Lots of top finishes in the small, medium, and large tour classes last week. As I said, a runner-up in the class just before this, our 2-star event. Now she's trying to match Nicholas Clear with Bull Run's Prince of Peace.
Another horse with a big stride. Kristen likes to do a lot of the leave-outs. Would expect to see her do 5 and 4 across that middle line as well. 4AB is this net jets combination, oxer vertical 2-stride. We saw it in the last class going the other direction, create a lot of problems. We'll see if that is the case in this 5-star event, meter 50. Number 5 is a square meter 50 tall oxer. Number 6 has a Liverpool underneath it, bending line to the Meyer oxer, and then it's a long gallop over here to the tricky diagonal line. Starts with this Major League show jumping triple bar. Gets a good one to continue up in 5. She does the 6 actually. And it's 4 strides, a little bit open to the Just World Skinny. Six strides into the triple, 1 to a 1. And then the last jump is very tricky. No problem for Kristen. 2 for 2.
Yeah, so right away we know for sure it's going to be a jump-off class here today with Oak Grove's Enkidu with Nick Pizarro and Bull Run's Prince of Peace with Kristen Vanderveen, both penalty-free right out of the blocks. And certainly the streak could stay alive here with a winner last week in the Grand Prix action, Sydney Schulman, coming up aboard Via Mora, the Jill Schulman entry out of Greenwich, Connecticut. She was a part of the Team AIM outing here last week. Had the disadvantage of showing first in the order there for our team competition on Saturday night in something that was brand new to everybody. She was the one who had to lead them off. But fortunately on Sunday, she showed to a winning round victory in that Premier Equestrian class with this very mount. Via Mora has been very good for her over the last couple of years, in fact, with several wins. And it's a 12-year-old Bessel Francais mare by Diamant de Saint-Marie. Of course, Sydney represents Israel, riding again for Jill Schulman from Greenwich, Connecticut.
Yeah, you mentioned that win that Sid had last week on Sunday with this horse. Very competitive duo these two are. Sydney's always, if she's clear and in the jump off, she's always one to watch. Just a strong competitor, very fast rider.
This horse has a heck of a lot of heart, too.
That's a great horse. A lot of blood, very light.
And you know, you were mentioning this combination isn't going to be a problem this time. At least they're not doing it in relation to another fence, really, because they got a lot of time to come around that bend from 3 to 4AB, as opposed to last time when they had to come off of a strange turn in a speed class, going in the opposite direction.
There's 9 strides across the middle from the Liverpool to the Meyer oxer. Heading to the Major League show jumping triple bar. Puts a little bend. She's going to definitely do the 6. And 6 gets a little flat into the triple. I think we'll have to watch the B element a little bit there. Front rail B and C. Clear all the way through. We're 3 for 3 now.
Wow, they're stacking up. And so that is now 3 clears in 3 countries. Mexico, USA, and Israel, all good to go. Maybe we can make it a 4th and a fourth, with Amy Miller representing Canada next up. She'll join us here aboard Truman. 12-year-old bay Celle Francais gelding by Milord Carthago. A Miller in overland entry out of her base in Perth, Ontario, Canada. Amy Miller, another of those team riders for Canada. In fact, they're sort of equestrian royalty there. Ian, Jonathan, Amy, of course, all part of Olympic outings. Amy, most recently there in 2016, competed at the Rio Games for her home country. She's been in the Grand Prix ribbons this season in Kentucky Spring, as well as the Upperville Grand Prix with this horse. Top 2 finisher in the team event here on Saturday night last week. Should be a part of it again this week going into Saturday.
Amy's having a very nice, consistent round so far. Great rider. This is a great combination. Truman, the 12-year-old bay mare, or sorry, bay gelding. See, she puts a little bend onto the triple bar, continues on in the 5, big stride. No problem up the middle line so far for any rider yet. Little rub at A, but it stays up. 1 jump to go. And clear as well.
The streak is alive.
It's unbelievable.
Incredible, yeah, no, because again, as I said at the start and as I heard people discussing, and I know you sort of acknowledged, there were some places here that we thought we were going to maybe see some problems, but we haven't really had them.
Yeah, I thought the NetJets combination, only because of how tough it rode in the last class, would be difficult. That middle line, the triple bar to the plank to the skinny, for sure the riders were worried about that, and as well as the triple combination to the last jump, which is set on a very difficult 90-degree turn. But so far, we've had no problems. First 4 horses going clear as we go to our next rider.
And, you know, of all of them, I would imagine Adrian Sternlicht is one that we would expect to get in there as well. You never know, of course, but she's 38th in the world, #1 on the East Coast World Cup League standings as of right now. So definitely one of our top-ranked riders on the scene here this week. Winner this season in Wellington, Saugerties, Old Salem. She's been a part of the short list for the Olympic Games. Of course, showed through several stops in Europe before the team was named. More recently, Adrian riding Benny's Legacy, 13-year-old bay Oldenburg gelding by Lupicore.
Adrian is working on a nice round early on, heading to the 5th jump. This is not a big horse, but a very big strided horse. Careful, athletic, has some great results with Adrian, big wins all across the world. We've seen a split of 5 and 6s so far up this line. 2 have done the 5, 2 have done the 6. I know Adrian was planning the 5, walking the course. She does do the 5. Makes the 4 steady. Great through there. Super through the combination.
Time, though. Look at that. I was just about to say no one's really had any troubles on the clock, but then Adrian comes in and unfortunately gets a little behind the pace necessary, finishing at 84.78. Our time allowed here is 82 seconds. And of course, we give faults at a rate of 1 for every commenced 4 seconds.
That's amazing. She didn't seem as slow as she was. 84 seconds. That's 2.5 seconds over. I thought she seemed more on it than that, but maybe a bit wide in a couple places.
And she ends up there as a result with 1 fault. Got word that I believe Alex Granado is not going to show here today with last week's Grand Prix winner. In fact, last week's winner of this very event, Carlton W. They're not going to compete today. Maybe they're just saving up for the weekend as well. But that's going to bring us then to Peter Leone, longtime rider for the U.S. team. In fact, since the Championships at the Olympic Games, the silver medal back in '96 in Atlanta for the team. 7 times a World Cup finalist, and he's been top 5 and top 6 in those finals. And here we have Peter Leone stepping up for Alex Granado, who will not be joining us today. Peter with Donner, Lion Share Farm entry, and 11-year-old bay Belgian gelding by Thunder van de Zoethove. As I was mentioning here off the mic, he's been a part of the teams ever since the early to mid 80s for the U.S. World Championship and Olympic starts. In fact, a silver medal in the mid 90s there in Atlanta.
Yeah, Peter had a very good round on this horse in the 5-star Grand Prix last Sunday, just having one rail down at the end. Looking to be on top form again today. Big jump over the Major League triple bar. He does the 5 as well to the plank. He's been really neat in his turns. I think he's thinking about the time allowed, wasting no time around the turns. Bigger stride, maybe a slower moving, jumps, spends a lot of time up in the air. So he has to save time through those turns.
And he's coming up with no problem on the clock at all, as he gets to the finish line faultless in 78 and change, it would appear. So that's going to be a 5th one qualified. We now have 2 for the U.S., 1 for Mexico, 1 for Israel, and 1 for Canada.
Horses are jumping good today, that's for sure.
They are on it.
Yet to see a rail after 6 horses.
So now it's to Ireland's David Blake, Pine Hollow Farm rider, and his entry Kyoki, number 1677. Kyoki, a 12-year-old bay Holsteiner gelding by Katoki. And throughout the course of the season, a regular here for David. The Winter Equestrian Festival early in the season, showing also into competition in Upperville, into the ribbons there. Tryon, North Carolina, showed into the ribbons in a 2-phase competition. David, a 2-time rider at the European Championships as a junior young rider.
Starting off with a great round so far for David as well, as he heads to fence number 5, the Traverse City, Michigan Oxer. It's 1.50 m tall, as most of these jumps today are set at the maximum 1.50 m height. David does the 6 strides to the plank and the 4 to the Just World Skinny. It's clear as he makes a home stretch to the last line.
He may have trouble on the clock here, we'll see. Down at number 11 anyway, so he's got 4 so far.
And just a back rail of that Oxer coming down with 1 jump to go.
Yeah, he's got to pick it up here to avoid time faults. He finishes in 82.57. Indeed, he will have 1 on the clock as well. 5 total there.
9 actually. Last jump coming down as well.
Spoke too soon there. He has 11 and 13 down. So 8 on the course and 1 on the clock in that 82.57 time. Nicolette Hurt coming up next. Rider for the U.S. Out of Iron Horse Equestrian in Pleasanton, California comes Fleurette. And Fleurette is a 12-year-old bay Celle Francais mare by Verdi Tien. This will be our 8th to compete. So far, 5 clear in the class. She placed in the Grand Prix top 7 last week with the Chateau 7.
Got hung up a little bit there at fence number 2, unfortunately having the back rail down. It's a big square oxer away from the gate, right at the beginning of the course. Not a surprise to catch a few riders there. Still on the 4 faults as she heads over to the Major League Show Jumping triple bar. Does the 6. 4 gets a little flat, but it works out. Still sitting on 4 faults as she heads to fence 11. And just a 1 down.
All right, so 4 faults and 84.58. We have to add 1 more on the clock there as a result of the time for Nicolette and Florette.
Time is becoming a little bit more of a factor as we get into the class. The first few horses were so quick, jumped the first round effortlessly and clear rounds, but we've seen a few time faults now the more we get into this, and we're seeing rails come down as well. So maybe a little false sense after
of security, yeah,
after the first few horses.
They got lulled into maybe getting a little complacent, who knows, but I'm sure they'll pick back up here and figure it all out. Another rider from the West Coast in California out of Palo Alto, where Marigold Sport Horses is based. We have Natalie Dean here with the Chance Saint-Germain, never missing a medal in the Young Rider Championships with 2 silver, 1 bronze, and a bronze individually, as we told you when she competed earlier in our 2-star events. Chance Saint-Germain is a 13-year-old bay Belgian mare by Calvaro. This rider competing to wins in the past couple of years in Wellington, Spruce Meadows, Old Salem. Also in Miami's 2-star competition there as part of the Global Champions Tour a few years back.
Yeah, these two were clear in the 5-star Grand Prix on Sunday, just one of the 4 clear rounds. Very tough track.
Finished up 4th in last Sunday's main event. Also competed in the team competition on Saturday. Keep bringing up that team competition for those of you watching now. I hope you're going to tune in as well tomorrow. Full slate of activity all day long, and then tomorrow evening is when that team event happens. If you didn't see it last week, you missed out. It was exciting, action-packed, very easy to understand and follow. So please tune in tomorrow for that.
So still working on a clear round for Chance and Natalie as she heads to the combination, triple combination, 1 fence to go. Clear all the way through. Great round.
Indeed. So that adds now a 6th name to that list. Fall free for Natalie and Chance Saint-Germain. Up next, rider for Brazil, Rodrigo Lambre, here with Jador van het Klinkenhoff. And this is a 12-year-old Belgian mount by Thunder van de Zothove. Entry number 2484. Winner for Rodrigo in a Grand Prix Meter 50 event, the same caliber in Monterey early this season. He also placed in the Nations Cup there in Wellington, Florida, with a bronze medal for the the Brazilian team.
Again, we see the second jump coming down. That's the second rider that's have that back rail of the oxer. It's a big oxer right at fence number 2, away from the gate. We see a big shift right in the net jets combination, but Rodrigo able to get his horse back into the middle of the jump. Fence number 6, vertical with a Liverpool underneath it, comes down. So Rodrigo standing on 8 faults as he heads across the diagonal of the ring.
And I believe he's going to have some time trouble here as well.
Does the 5 and has the plank down. First rider we've seen had that plank down. I thought that was going to be a tough jump. It hasn't been the case so far.
And yeah, at this point, 10 seconds to get to the finish line. With an arcing turn there to get there, and yeah, he's going to be over.
He does do 7 to the last, but that comes down.
So he'll finish with the 16 jumping, 1 on the clock, and 84.25. Now for the Grant Road Partners entry, and for years a top mount for Katie Dynan. She's got Dougie Douglas in next. Katie out of her Grant Road Partners base in New York, New York, aboard this 16-year-old chestnut gelding by A.R.D. VDL Douglas, number 1925.
And just a great combination. These two have been for a while now. Veteran horse. Katie has tons of experience. Very competitive rider.
She's been a winner at Harrisburg, the Pennsylvania National on this horse. A lot of runner-up placings here in the U.S. and in Europe for this mount. Was previously a Nations Cup ride for a British competitor, Holly Smith, before she got a hold of it several years back.
Katie's doing a good job thinking about time allowed here. She's got to get over to this next jump. It's a long canter around the ring to get to the Major League Show Jumping triple bar. She does do the 5. That should help with time. Wants to get right over here to fence 11. She's going to be flirting with time. Oh, A comes down. So sitting on 4 faults.
And getting to the finish there in 80.94 with the 1 knockdown. So just over a second to spare and 4 on the course. And like you said, it looked like she was working on avoiding those time faults, but it's surprising how close she ended up coming to that time allowed. Just over a second left on the clock. Daniel Rien, next to go. A silver medalist at Young Riders a few years back in Saugerties, as well as the Young Rider Nations Cup event that happened in Deerage back in 2019. And in 2020, they finished with the bronze medal at that same Nations Cup event. Been second in Monterey at Grand Prix action. Also a winner of a 2-star Grand Prix in Otomi last year. And victories in both Otomi and La Silla in the meter 45 and 50 2- and 3-star events a couple of years back. So he's had some good placings. He's here today aboard his own Color van Berkenbroek, 15-year-old chestnut mare by Cola Ruban.
Daniel, just a young rider, I think 20 years old, but lots of experience already jumping these big classes. FEI 5-star event here, part of Major League Show Jumping Week. It's clear right now through fence 6 as he heads to the Meyer Oxer, fence number 7. A little bit of a rub at the back rail at the meter 50 Oxer, meter 60 spread. Gallops up in 5.
And he should be okay on the clock here. Oof, little lucky at the oxer, but not so lucky coming out of that combination there.
And the last jump coming down as well.
He'll cross the finish in 80.58. Will do so with 2 knockdowns for 8 faults. Well, we've got one of the top-ranked riders in the world with us now. It is BZ Madden. She is number 21 on the world ranking, number 2 in the North American Eastern League for World Cup points. And it's no surprise because her past performances have really been great for the U.S. She's been gold medalist for the team twice, silver medalist once, and an individual bronze medalist as well in her 4 Olympic starts since 2004. World Cup finals victory on 2 occasions with 2 different Mount Simon and Breitling LS. Also has been gold and silver and bronze medalist team individually for the Pan Am outings, and many, many more accomplishments to her credit. BZ here to pilot entry number 217, Breitling LS right now, the 15-year-old Bay Stallion by Quintero. Of course, she's out of Cazenovia, New York, riding for Abigail Wexner.
Can't say enough about this rider or this horse, a combination. I think BZ's a rider everyone has looked up to for numerous years. Putting together a very nice round. Great to see a combination like this at Traverse City Horse Shows. Right in the thick of our second 5-star week here. Second week of the Major League Show Jumping. Have another 5-star week in September for the American Gold Cup. BZ's working on a great round. 6 strides into the triple. 1 jump to go. Time's no problem. Yeah, a clear round. Great ride.
Excellent finish there, as you'd expect from the winning combination of Breitling LS and BZ Madden. So they'll exit the ring with a clear there and a chance to come back. The 7th one to qualify. When we first started here, I thought we were just going to keep on going with those clears, but they've thinned out a bit at this point.
I think we'll continue to see them thin out. The first 4 horses gave us that false security that it was an easy course, but it's proving to be a hard course. I'm sure we'll see plenty more clears, but I don't think it's an easy course, and we'll see faults coming all over the course.
So she will exit. Sean Cassidy will enter. He's back in now with Pudden Farms entry Captain Jack, number 1458, a 12-year-old Grey Gelding by Der Senat.
John making his way to the 3rd jump. Originally based in the east coast of the U.S., is now based out west in California. He's had great success over the last couple years in California. Does 8 strides to the Meyer Oxer. I think he's the first rider we've seen do that. Mainly been 9. Keeping up a good gallop up to the triple bar. Does the 5. 4 will get steady.
Down, kicks out over the Just World to knock that rail off the top. They were essentially clear.
First combination we've seen to have the Just World vertical down so far. And B of the triple also coming down. Captive 1, triple combination.
So he'll finish on 8 in 78.42. No problem on the clock there. But really sort of a quirky rail on the top of the Just World vertical, along with more of an understandable rail in the middle of the triple combination there. Total of 8 faults.
Yeah, it looked as if he had cleared the jump and the horse just kicked out the the just rolled vertical on his way down.
Now we'll welcome in next Jose Antonio Chedraui with Aintree Stables entry Haraminka P, number 2519. A rider here for Mexico, out of Mexico City. And once again, Haraminka P is the entry on course here for our rider. See what he can do here, if he can bring us back into contention for a clear. We already have Nicolas Pizarro of Mexico qualified to jump off. Haraminka P is a 9-year-old Bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare.
Jose's giving us a great ride so far. Stays a little wide and cautious here to the Liverpool. Clear over the Meyer Oxer. He's got to think about time allowed. See him really have to work to get that 4-stride in. I think for sure we're working on a little time faults here. Got just 8 seconds to spare with a few jumps left. Oh, he has A down in the triple combination. 4 faults as he canters to the last jump.
And is over the time allowed as well, as you mentioned. Trouble there. You could tell about that early on. 84.37 is where they'll stop the clock, doing so with a knockdown and as well 1 time fault. That's 5 total. Coming up next is Gerardo Pascal with El Conde for Alamos Americas LLC out of Rancho Santa Fe, California. 2711 is the number here. El Conde, the mount, 10-year-old bay gelding, and an entry by Felou Demuse. Winning entry last season in Balvanera there in Mexico. This season showing throughout the year in Puebla, Copexapan, Balvanera, before coming here to the U.S. and competing in the Split Rock Series in June. They placed in the $100,000 meter 50 Grand Prix there in Lexington.
See, this is a lot of blood with this horse. He's keeping a lot of speed. Maybe a little wide in some of the turns, but it's quick across the ground. Unfortunately, the front rail of the Meyer Oxer comes down. I think that's the first time we've seen that down today, Brian.
In this class for sure. So he's working on 4 right now, halfway through the course.
Triple combination 12A is coming down. It's difficult triple combination. We see more horses as we go through the course, and the list of riders having problems there. It's triple combination late in the course, catching this rider as well. So finishing with 12 faults and a time.
Yeah, indeed, 13 will be his total. Again, it is interesting to think how well the top of the order went there. Looking at the entries, of course, no surprise that Nicolas Pizarro, Kristen Vanderveen, Sidney Schulman, and Amy Miller were clear there. Again, at that point, it just looked like the streak was going to continue on, but they've now started to pick up more and more faults as time goes on. And the round continues. In fact, we're closing in on the halfway point here with Skylar Riley coming up for the USA. And here to show Robin de Pontel for Catherine Gallagher of Concord, Massachusetts. 16-year-old Basel Francais gelding by Elf Dior. Placed this season on this mount in the Upperville Grand Prix in June, there in Virginia. Also showed the ribbons throughout the winter season. Another horse of hers, Kalimbo, was a winner there in a feature event in Wellington. She's been a regular on Nations Cup teams for the USA. And among her wins, the American Invitational, American Gold Cup, sister feature North American events to her credit.
And this combination was second in this class last week. Jumped very solid both day, this class and the 5-star Grand Prix. Little bit deep to the oxer, but no problem. Skylar did a good job supporting it. Robin jumped a great jump there. This horse really seems to be in good form here at Traverse City Horse Shows, peaking. It's been jumping excellent rounds every time it's been out. You see very big stride for the 5. He'll have to steady for this 4. Could be just close enough to the time allowed.
She should be all right at this point, rounding the bend with about 7 seconds. Get there, almost. Ay. Her time is within 81.94.
Was
wow,
flirting. Just a hair.
She was flirting with it, 6/100ths of a second, and you see the smile on her face as she realized she might have gotten a little lucky. For sure, she's penalty free due to the credit of Robin and Skylar, but they were flirting with a problem on the clock. Add that one to the faultless list, and we now have 8 going through to round 2. Francisco Pascal would like to be the next rider from Mexico to do it. Here aboard Manzano, number 2705. Manzano is a 13-year-old Belgian mount. Twice a rider at the Central American and Caribbean Games, both times earning team gold. The first time back in 2006, also an individual bronze medalist for Mexico. And Francisco Pascal has had a lot of experience this season, not only in Mexico, his home country, with a lot of wins throughout the course of the early season there, but also competing in Madrid, St. Gallen, and Le Beau in the European Tour. And many times in top 2 and 3 placings in those events, 5-star competition.
Francisco's putting together a clear round so far as he heads to the triple bar. Major League Show Jumping triple bar. He's doing the 5 strides to the plank. Clips it behind for 4 faults, unfortunately.
And he also may have some trouble on the clock here. If you round that bend in over 60 seconds, you're likely going to finish over.
Yeah, certainly agree. You want to be jumping 12A under 70 seconds, that's for sure. More like 67, 68 seconds.
And he comes home here, will be about 2 seconds over, finishing in 84.22. So that's going to be 4 on the course for the knockdown at that Turtle Creek Casino vertical, and as well 1 on the clock, 5 total faults. Blizz here is from Las Vegas, Nevada. Well traveled, again, as we mentioned earlier, through competition in the United States and in Europe. She's here with Kayani SN, 11-year-old bay gelding by Callado. And as we also mentioned earlier, she has had wins from coast to coast in the U.S., from Thermal, California to Wellington, Florida, as well as throughout Europe, Spruce Meadows in addition to that, on many different mounts. So she's shown quite a bit of talent. One of the reasons she was again shortlisted this season to have a chance to be on that Olympic team. She's here aboard Bridgeside Farms LLC's entry, again, Kayani SN. And she'll bring us halfway through this list, 21st on the order out of 40 starters.
We see that second jump coming down again. First time we've seen the front rail come down. We've seen the back rail come down a few times today already. proving to be a tough jump right off the bat. Meter 15 height. There's not a single jump out here less than meter 50. Even the first jump is set at the height maximum. Still sitting on the 4 faults. Does the 5 across the middle to the steady 4. See, after having the 4 faults, maybe not so concerned with the time faults. Fence 11, the back rail, the oxer comes down as well, so sitting with 8. And 2 down in the triple combination, 16 heading to the last.
And gets there in 85.24, so all told 17 faults here for Bliss Hears and Kayani SN. We're really cruising right through this list. Seems like it's flying by. So far, Nicholas Pizarro, that is, Kristen Vanderveen, Sydney Schulman, Amy Miller, Peter Leone, Natalie Dean, BZ Madden, and Skylar Riley are good to go. Nicholas Delajoyo next is actually a scratch today, and so we're moving on to Shane Sweetenham with Bertie Dutho. Shane's had a couple of wins with Ideal. He's been a team top contestant last week in the Major League Show Jumping event. He came into the competition here in Traverse City with a top 33 in the world ranking. And again, he's only earned several more points to give himself a chance to move up over the past few weeks. Again, he earned a victory on Ideal. He earned another one in the team event aboard Indra van de Oudheihof. And this is Bertie Dutho, the 10-year-old Basel Francais mare by Magic Del.
Shane's been having great results at the horse shows over the last couple weeks and throughout his career, really, but really a strong rider, competitive rider. I've been watching this horse. He's done a very good job with it. He's very high on it. Been putting together some really serious jumping over the last few weeks, stepping it up into 5-star action here. Unfortunately, that A element of the triple coming down and the C, that triple is proving to be very difficult at the end of the course here today. So finishing with 8 faults for Shane and a time of 80.44 seconds.
Now it's to Artemis Equestrian Farms entry and Rodrigo Pessoa's ride. It's Lord Lucio up next. 19:05 is the number for scoring. And of course the rider for Brazil, who has just had about the most incredible career anyone could have in this sport. This season, of course, offering him several victories throughout the winter into the spring. He's been competing, of course, in Wellington early season, Old Salem. Went over and competed in Rome and St. Gallen before coming back to show to a couple wins in Upperville. He is yet to be named on is about to be on his 7th team for the Olympic Games after twice being a team bronze medalist and an individual gold medalist as well. World Equestrian Games 3 times. He's been a gold medalist there 3 times. A World Cup champion. I mean, he's just had so much success throughout the course of his career. He's an icon for sure. And what we just saw there is a demonstration that even the best can have less than perfect performances. He's got just the rail down at number 5 halfway through the course now.
And you can see those unicorn floats next to the Traverse City jump. Can catch some of the horse's attention. I think this is the first time this horse has been in the ring, seen that jump. maybe just took a little peek. Rodrigo had to put a little extra leg on it, and unfortunately had the front rail of that oxer down. Sitting on 4 faults as he heads into the home stretch.
And time faults as well here. That one knockdown at number 5 and a couple ticks over the time, 84.31. That's going to give him 5 total faults. Lots more show jumping action to come, so stay with us here through the course of the weekend. We're sure to see many of these riders who didn't get into the jump off today come back successfully over the Saturday and Sunday part of our season. Jordan Coyle coming in next, rider for Ireland in the Elan Farm entry Eristov. Number 882 will be his mount here in the 5-star. It's a 12-year-old gray gelding by Cicero Z. van Pimmel. Again, Jordan Coyle, who clinched the victory for the Lucky Charms team last Saturday night. Grand Prix winner in Upperville. Top finisher in a couple of events in Old Salem in May. Victory in Mexico and several in Wellington as well. So a banner year for the rider from Ireland. Jordan listed out of a base in Brewster, New York.
Big horse with a big scope, big jump on him. Unfortunately, having that front rail down to the Meyer Oxer. As you said earlier, Jordan was the anchor rider on the Lucky Charms team. Oh.
That's one of those jumps that we were talking about could potentially be tricky there, just the distance getting into that vertical, but we haven't really seen it be a problem so far here in this class like we may have expected.
Jordan quickly circles, gets back on track, has the jump down, looking to finish the course here as he clears fence number 11.
And he will get to the finish line there with troubles in a couple of categories. Knockdown, refusal, time, all combining for 21 faults and 98.18. Caitlin Campbell, also a rider who grew up, was trained on the East Coast, but now is based out west in Temecula, California. She is in and piloting Elan number 1332 now. A 13-year-old Belgian gelding by Indorado. And Caitlin Campbell, also a ribbon winner so far this season here in Traverse City. Also earned a couple wins out on the West Coast in Thermal, California. Was also a part of the Roadrunners team outing last Saturday night. We'll be in that effort again tomorrow.
See Caitlin had to put a little extra leg on through the double combination, but worked out really well, got her horse back on track there. Does a very good job of instilling confidence in her horses. She's a very competitive rider. She's got a good group of horses that she's jumping the big classes on right now, based out in California. Oh, unfortunately, having that plank down, she does the forward 5. Maybe just got a little bit flat for her horse, had it down behind. And then we have the triple combination, which is proving to be very tough as the class goes on. A element coming down, so 8 faults as we head to the last jump. And she'll stay on that 8 faults.
2 knockdown finish, time of 79.08, so no trouble on the clock, just the knockdowns here for 8. Now we'll see what Erin Ballard has to offer as she comes to us now, again representing Canada. And joining us with Illanfurter's entry, Gakir, 10-year-old chestnut stallion by Spartacus. Again, a World Equestrian Games rider, a Pan Am rider also back in 2019. And out of Tottenham, Ontario, she is here.
Brian, we had 8 clear rounds in the first half of this class. Still waiting for our first clear round in the second half.
Yeah, it's been 7 trips since we saw Skylar Riley, the most recent one to get into that jump-off round. So maybe Erin Ballard can break that non-qualifying streak, if you will. And of course, based on what she's done already this year, we would expect that she has the ability to do so on a couple of different mounts in feature classes through Wellington and Tryon before even coming here again. She's been at the top of the list, if not a runner-up in a couple of Grand Prix. Came here, as I said, with the several wins in the open jumpers last week.
This combination's been terrific so far. Former mount of Ben Mayer. Erin's been very hot on this horse. Lots of clear rounds. I know they're very excited, her and Illanfurter, about the future of this duo together. Oh, unfortunately, the plank coming down there in the 5.
Starting to rear up a lot more than it was at the beginning of this class for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing the rails come down a bit more in the second half, no doubt about it. Super through the triple combination. Horse jumped that very well. And unfortunately, just at 4 faults.
Time is 78.65. Her score is 4 faults for the knockdown. Lauren Huff trying to get through now, and will do so aboard Connemara 2. And she's here for Kathleen Kamen, Oldwick, New Jersey. This is a 12-year-old bay Holsteiner mare by Claremont. Once again, Lauren's basically checked all of the boxes for team and individual international big starts from the Olympics, World Equestrian Games, Pan Am Games, Nations Cup Finals, and the World Cup Finals. Many times she has gone forward for the U.S. team. Connemara, once again, the horse on course right now.
Little rub for Lauren at fence number 1. Stays up, no problem. Sometimes that's just all you need. Get the horse's attention. Great through the net jets combination. Oxa vertical 2-stride. See Lauren working to get her horse in control in front of that fence number 5, the Traverse City Oxer. Clear halfway through the course as she heads over to the triple bar, the Major League Show Jumping triple bar. Second half of this course is really the tough part. Starts here with this plank. Does that middle line excellent. Coming into the home stretch, fence number 11.
She's right on the borderline of having time trouble here. 64 going into that final line.
Yep, she's going to be close, if not just over. Jumps, oh, unfortunately, back rail of B coming down. Gets over the last jump clear, and within the time.
80.26, yeah, she's actually got about 1.75 seconds to spare there, but still the knockdown. So 4 faults for the captive 1 Oxer that dropped there aboard Connemara 2.
Our viewers can notice from that replay, the course designer on that captive 1 triple combination, you see there's blue rails on the A element and the C element, blue and white, and on the B element it's just straight white rails. That can be a little bit of an illusion for the horses. You know, they see the blue and white and then the white ones are there. It can be very difficult for the horses to focus and really jump that cleanly, and we see that catching up to a lot of horses here late in the class.
Yeah, those rails could sort of disappear as they're sort of drawn toward the striped rails as opposed to the solid colored white rails there. So now it's Andrew Wells' turn. See if he can break the streak of non-qualifiers. He's aboard Kentucky's Sun Z, his own entry. And this is a 12-year-old bay gelding by Kentucky. The Zangerside mount.
Unfortunately, the third jump coming down there for Andrew and Kotoki. This is a newer mount for Andrew. He just purchased this horse after the Florida season. So only had this horse for a couple months now. He's already won a meter 45 class in Kentucky. Did this horse in the Major League Show Jumping event last week in the debut.
Has had some ribbons here in Traverse City as well.
There we see another horse having a problem in this triple combination. It's really proving to be a tough triple combination.
Yeah, stopping in that triple combination means that you got to retake it, and if the jumps have already come down, they are forced to give you a timeout so that they can reset the fences. That's going to happen here, and the penalty for the timeout, of course, will be a 6-second added.
We'll see if Andrew elects to go through the triple combination again or maybe just take a courtesy jump. I think he's going to take a courtesy jump. Go jump the first jump again and save it for another day. Exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah,
so newer combination for these two. We'll see them in the future. A lot of rounds to come for them.
Like you said, and I know he was feeling very good about this horse earlier on in the year, just a couple of months back, but they only have since May together, so there's still time for them to sort of gel and figure out how they can work together.
Exactly.
Andrew Bournes now for Ireland, part of the Lucky Charms team win last week. He's here aboard Sea Top Blue, number 2017. Sea Top Blue, a 10-year-old bay Dutch warm blood gelding by Choco Blue. Andrew's had a lot of wins in the U.S., Europe, Canada. Couple of Grand Prix victories over the past few years. One of them coming during the Winter Equestrian Festival this season aboard another of his top mounts, Darquito. Sea Top Blue 2 years back, a winner in Valkensveld. Certainly among the most competitive fields showing there.
Andrew's done a very good job of having quality horses in these classes. Always has the next one coming up. We saw a nice 9-year-old and the 2-star. He's had a lot of success with this horse.
Should be time to spare here for Andrew as he comes down to the finish line. One jump left and getting there in a time of 80.74. So give him a ticket to come back.
Super round, broke the streak. It'd been a while since we've seen a clear round, and that was an excellent round for Andrew, and his horse jumped great, and a great ride by Andrew.
Yeah, 11 rounds back's the last time we saw a penalty-free qualifier. That was, of course, Skylar Riley with Robin de Puntual. So now we have a total of 9 that will advance to the jump-off round. Just a few riders come to us representing Puerto Rico, including Vasco Flores. He's in with Parambo LLC's entry, Parambo. 12-year-old bay Oldenburg Stallion by Balube Durouet. Representative at the Central American and Caribbean Games on behalf of Puerto Rico is Vasco Flores.
Yeah, this is a newer mount for Vasco, not a lot of experience together. Older horse does have plenty of experience in the bigger classes, as does Vasco.
He's just taken this ride on, though, as of June, so just over a month together.
And this is a bit of a bigger horse, bigger stride, slower mover. Vasco's going to really have to think about where he can save some time. Think about being a little bit tight in the turns. Unfortunately, 4A, then that Jets Oxer coming down the back rail.
And at this point, we've got 9 clears, one with a single time fall, that being Adrian Sternlicht. If you can be a quick 4, you could still be in the ribbons up to now. It's not looking like he's going to have a speedy effort, though.
Unfortunately, having the plank down as well there at fence number 9. Like we said, this pair only being together since May or June. Good through the triple combination, which has been very tough to jump clear. And clear over the last jump to finish on 8 faults.
Okay, so they will have an 87.81 time, and that means 8 jumping plus 2 on the clock. Chandler Meadows out of Newport Beach, California, coming up next. And here aboard Kodak Venhet Inderhof. Kodak Venhet Inderhof is a Belgian gelding. The 11-year-old bay by Copperfield von der Helt, number 921. Showed on this mount through amateur competition out west on the desert circuit early in the year, as well as a couple of open jumper classes there. Came east to show to ribbons in our Kentucky Spring Series there in Lexington. Had a couple of ribbons there in speed and 2-phase events in May. Chandler Meadows, a rider on the Blazing Sevens who made it into the jump off for a medal last week, finished just off the podium with that.
Our second week of Major League Show Jumping coming tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Tune in for the live stream with us.
They've done a great job of developing that class, marketing it as well. Chandler Meadows, as you may have seen there, pulling the plank on those flat cups atop the Turtle Creek Casino and Hotel vertical.
See, that's an option line where you can do 5 or 6 strides. The horse landed a little bit shallow off that triple bar. She still did the 5, had to hustle. Unfortunately, got a little bit flat and had that plank down. Done a good job to maintain that 4 faults. Oh, unfortunately, the back rail, the last jump coming down as well.
So she gets 8, a time of 84.64, adding another one on the clock. So 9 is the total there. And now it's time for John Perez, who has been with us since the very first Traverse City Spring Show and has almost not missed the ribbons in his starts here in our feature classes. A couple times he's been in top 3 placings. John Perez will join us here for Colombia, riding Daniel Rian's entry Desperado DN. Team bronze medalist of the Central American and Caribbean Games. He also showed at the Pan Am Games and the World Cup Finals. regular rider on the Nations Cup teams for Columbia. He rides out of a base in Castle Rock, Colorado. Desperado DN is the 13-year-old bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood Stallion by Argentinas.
Very good jumper, this horse. He has great style, but maybe a little bit fussy in the mouth. You see this rider has a hack a bit on. Unfortunately, having the vertical down behind, fence number 6. It's a tall -50 vertical with a Liverpool on the back side. Another rider electing to do the 5 after the triple bar. Clear through the triple combination, 1 jump to go to maintain that 4 faults. The back rail of the last ox are coming down as well.
We have not seen that Southern Arches fence down that much, but that came in this round. So 4 faults for that, 4 faults for number 13, 8 faults the total for what was a Nations Cup combination this winter in Wellington, Desperado DN and John Perez Bohm. 8 fault finish there. Got Margie Engel coming up next, and she'll be here aboard the 12-year-old bay gelding by Diorado. This will be Dicas.
Margie coming off of a European tour with Dicas. This is his first class back after a little break, coming back from Europe.
Yeah, in fact, Dicas was the winner there in that Nauka, Belgium start in a 3-star competition. Also a number of top 2 ribbons during the winter there in Wellington, her home base. This one's owned by Stormridge Capital, the Garber family, the Bartholomew and Gladwin's partners as well. Margie does an incredible job of putting together partnerships to help her to back these horses. Salute to all of those owners out there who believe in these riders, and of course you'd have no trouble believing in Margie after all of her accomplishments over the years.
Certainly not. Margie's got this horse back in her normal bit. I know in Europe had a little bit of an accident in the barn, had to use a hackamore for a couple rounds, was still able to jump clear rounds in the hackamore, then put this bit back on. It's been a super horse. I remember it debuting here as an 8-year-old in Traverse City, jumping its first Grand Prix here, 2 stars 4 years ago.
Checked up going into the triple, and it looks like that paid off for her because she's coming around clear and no problem on the clock either. So we've got Margie in. That'll be exciting in that jump-off round. 80.26 the time for Dicas. About a 2 3/4 to spare there.
Yeah,
add that one as a 10th qualifier.
Wonderful round for those two. Great to see him back off a break in top form, and great to have Margie in any jump off.
I just want the representative from Germany, and here he is, Christian Heineken, now of course US based.
Okay, so we've got NKH Cento Blue coming up now. This will be a ride for Christian Heineken representing Germany. Of course, he's been in North Texas for many, many years now, married to fellow equestrian Aaron Davis Heineken, who we're going to see about 4 rounds down the list here. She'll actually be the second to last to show. But once again, Christian with NKH Cento Blue now on course. NKH Cento Blue, 11-year-old bay Oldenburg gelding by Centadel, owned by NKH LLC. And a winner this season in May in a Showboat Jumping Classic entry in Fort Worth near their home base. They also showed throughout the course of the early season in thermal in the desert circuit and achieved victory as well in the international class there. Great quality rider, Christian Heineking. I believe took a little bit of time off during the late winter and early spring, I should say. If I'm not mistaken, he had a bit of an injury late in the winter season there. It's nice to see him back in the irons now.
Yeah, they look to be in top form again. Recovered, healthy. See, he makes a quick turn back on fence 11. Time allowed should be good.
Yeah, I was going to say he's making sure time is not the trouble, though. Going into that triple, pulling both A and B elements down means an 8-fault finish. And that is where they'll stay. 8 faults in a timely 77-1-8 effort.
You see, 4 faults is still a ribbon right now, so a fast 4-faulter would put you in 12th place. We have 10 clear, 1 with a time fault, that's Adrian Cernlich, and 12th is Aaron Ballard and Gakir.
Coming up next is Juan Carlos Martin del Campo out of La Jolla, California, riding on behalf of Mexico. Here with Dimitri, his own entry, a 13-year-old gray Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Up to Date. Couple of top 3 and 4 placings throughout the winter, including a meter 50 Grand Prix in Monterey back in April. And he's been showing with us here since the beginning of the Great Lakes Equestrian Festival, our summer season.
Juan's looking to join fellow countryman Nicholas Pizarro into the jump off. Be our second clear round from a Mexican rider. Clear so far as he heads to the triple bar, the Major League Show jumping jump. He's doing the 5 strides a little bit flat up to the plank. No problem across the diagonal. Be right on the cusp a little bit of those time faults. Should be okay. Clear through the triple. 1 jump to go.
Trouble on the clock, I fear, as he gets to the finish in 81.80. Wow, he is 2/10 under. But again, really doesn't matter that much as long as you're under, no matter how much it is. So 81.80 and no faults. 2 riders from Mexico will be back. Truly an international group coming through to the second round here. We've got riders from Mexico, the U.S., Israel, Canada, as well as Ireland. And 3 more for the U.S., 1 for Puerto Rico left to go here today. Kat Tyree, the next to compete. She'll be aboard her entry, BEC Lorenzo, an 11-year-old gray gelding by SIEC Livello. Kat Tyree, of course, very dynamic. Her history shows it. 4 times on the North American Young Rider Championships teams. She's been a silver and bronze medalist on behalf of the teams in 2010 and 2013. She has gone on later to compete successfully to victories in Washington, Toronto, also Old Salem, the Winter Equestrian Festival, Dinard in France, also, of course, here in Traverse City last season. BEC Lorenzo was one of her victorious mounts here last year.
A little rub at B there coming out of the net jets combination. Stays up. Kat's always a quick rider. Thinking about that time allowed. has been a factor today. Going deep into the corner to fence number 11, line this up. One jump to go, a little rub at sea, but it stays up, stays on the inside track to the last jump and clear round.
Good to go. Nice job. 78 and change. The time to spare as well for BEC Lorenzo and Catherine Tyree. By the way, they'll also be a part of the Team AIM outing here tomorrow night when the competition begins at 6. Next, we'll go on to Freddie Vasquez, the rider for Puerto Rico aboard Kirschwasser SCF. He hails from Mettawa, Illinois, riding this 11-year-old chestnut Belgian gelding by Amaretto Darko out of Verlichin-de-Meuse. 2651, the number here.
This horse originally bred by Spy Coast Farm. Shane Sweetenham had the ride on this horse. Got it to the international level before it was purchased for Freddie.
Freddie's been a Pan Am rider as well as a Central American and Caribbean Games rider on behalf of Puerto Rico. As you said, Kirschwasser SCF, as the SCF would dictate. Product of Spy Coast Farm and that American breeding that they've been so successful at as they've begun to develop that program over the past several years. Shane Sweetenham did show this one successfully in events at the Hampton Classic a few years back in New York. Winner and runner-up in feature classes there. So it's got a lot of promise, good history of success.
Freddie's giving this one a very good ride so far. It's clear as he heads into the home stretch.
But he's at
to
that
fence 11.
64-second mark, Michael. That might be a problem.
Oh, unfortunately, the back rail of 11 does come down. Does the 7 to the last. And within the time allowed.
80.52 is that finish time, yep.
Just an unfortunate rail at the back rail of fence number 11. We haven't seen that come down too much. But it catch Freddie. But overall, very solid round for those two going into Sunday's 5-star Grand Prix.
Erin Davis Heineking, as promised, wife of Christian Heineking, coming in next. Lifelong horsewoman. They've got a nice breeding operation in October Hill Sales, or October Hill Farm in Fort Worth. That's her native base. She's here riding Leone, number 1453. And another rider who will be a part of the team coming up here tomorrow night. Leone's a 12-year-old bay Oldenburg mare by Leo von Fels.
Very nice horse, Grand Prix winner at WEF last year. Had some solid rounds last week together here in the 5-star competition.
Yeah, they actually showed into a couple of nice placings, including a runner-up in the international classes out on the West Coast in Thermal over the winter.
She's going to need to hustle a little bit at the end of the course here for the time allowed.
As I was saying, for Freddie a round to go, coming around that bend at the 61-62 mark. It looks like she might even be a couple seconds behind what his pace was. He did finish just inside the time allowed. Aaron, though, faultless over the jump so far, flirting with trouble on the clock. Let's see what she can do. Maybe make up a little bit here going to the last jump. And her finish time, unfortunately, is over. We have to give her credit for jumping them all clear, but 83.21. It was just too much to overcome going into that. You don't want to have to make up time going in that line because that's already tricky enough as it is. The combination and the bend going back around to number 13, that's not the place you want to have to put the pedal down.
No, there's not too many places to make up time at the end of the course. You really got to think about it early on from fence 1 to 2, getting back on fence 5, and then again cantering, galloping over to the Major League Show jumping triple bar.
All right, well, one more now to show in our first round, and that's going to be Kyle King and Magic Mike. Kyle, again, one of just 4 to get into the jump-off last week in our feature event. Took Coffee to Go into the 3rd spot there. And he also was a part of the bronze medal Roadrunners outing in the team competition on Saturday night. Magic Mike is the horse right now, 12-year-old dark bay gelding by Zapatero VDL. Now he's listed out of Ocala, but of course, I've already mentioned earlier, he spent a lot of time out on the West Coast, and in fact, we'd more call Calgary or a couple locations in California his sort of base of operations. And he's very successful out there, wins in thermal, wins in national classes as well through the Spring Series in Temecula Valley, the Riders Cup in LA, the Blenheim Series as well.
He's had some great results here over the last couple weeks. He's due for a win here. He's been real close knocking on the door.
He's not going to have any trouble on the clock. Or over the jumps. He's one of the quickest we have seen here today in 77 and change. So he will be a part of the return round. Magic Mike, Kyle King vying for the winner's share of $72,900 along with the others. All told, we finished with 13 short course qualifiers. And again, they represent Mexico, the USA, Israel, and Canada. And Ireland with one rider as well by the name of Andrew Borns. We had a few more in the first half of the class than we did in the second, but it sort of started to even out there. And again, all told, 13 will contest the jump-off course. Just a bit of a change coming up here. Olaf says he's going to remove the Just World vertical, I believe. I think he's also, of course, going to have to remove the C element of the triple combination and make way for that jump-off round. And all of the big money positions are up for grabs here as we have 13 qualifiers. And we'll see what happens going into that jump off. We'll give you a brief overview of the course when we come back out of this break. Should be about 10 minutes while the tractors and the crew do their work, and then we'll tell you all about it.
So the course for the jump off, 13 coming back for the jump off of this $72,900 Premier Equestrian CSI 5-star. And in fact, they're starting over fence 2, which is that Premier Equestrian feature fence. On the gallop then to the Michigan Lighthouses, the vertical
Michael
at 3
Morrissey,
before they'll
myself,
turn.
Brian Lookabill with you here as we're about to resume action in our $72,900 Premier Equestrian Meter 50 big money class here on Friday afternoon, and 13 riders have made it through. We were on a heck of a tear at the beginning of this class with Nicholas Pizarro, Kristen Vanderveen, Sydney Schulman, and Amy Miller all clearing 4 in a row. Then they started to thin out a little bit. We saw breaks between our qualifiers. The longest break we had there was between Skylar Riley and Andrew Bournes at the midway point in the class. About 11 rounds between those two. But all told, 13 entries made it out of about 37 starters today. Let's talk about the jump-off course quickly while Nicholas Pizarro comes in. Michael, we have, of course, lost a couple fences, namely the number 5 Oxer with the unicorn floaties now turned into an island, and we'll tell you about why that is in a moment. Number 10, which was the Just World vertical, is gone altogether. And the jump off here is going to start over the Premier Equestrian Oxer. Number 3 is the Lighthouse vertical. 15, the Sunflower Oxer. Number 1, the Cabana Coast vertical. 9 coming away from home over the Casino Planks. Then 12 AB, our Captive 1 combination, and they'll finish over the Ottawa and Chippewa Tribes Oxer. Here is, again, Nicholas Pizarro with Oak Grove's Enkidu. And you can see why they've moved the Just World fence, because the rollback to number 15 should be as inside a cut as possible to make up time. Of course, that's on the heels of a knockdown by Nicholas there at number 3.
Yeah, we saw Nicholas do 8 strides in the first line. The first round, most riders did 9. It's 8. The next line is a choice of 6 or 7. Nicholas did the 7. He's Captive 1 vertical to an Oxer double. And there's an 8 strides to the last jump, finishing with the 4 faults in a time of 40.77 seconds.
All right, so of course the first objective would be to go clear in this jump-off round, and if you can do that, do so in short order. With the names on this list, you're not going to want to mess around. Kristen Vanderveen, again, several wins over the past 2 weeks here. She is coming back in now. With Nicholas Pizarro scoring 4, the door is wide open for her to take over the lead. But when she looks behind her and sees Sydney Schulman, a winner last week, Amy Miller, a team rider for Canada, Peter Leone, one for the U.S., Natalie Dean, a big-name rider as well, all of those, and of course then BZ Madden and many others hot on our heels, she's not going to want to just go clear. She's going to want to try to do so in quick fashion. Here's Bull Run's Prince of Peace. Her ride, a 12-year-old Bay Holsteiner gelding by Cardinho.
Well, right off the bat, you have the option of doing the leave-out stride in 8. You could even see a 7 there. I think most will do 8. Next line, we'll see if Kristen does the 6 from the Sunflower Oxer defense, what was number 1 in the first round. So she's lining up this first line. She does do the 7.
Like you said earlier, she's all about leaving him out.
Oh, quick
Nice.
over to that Oxer. Does do the 6 strides, easy.
Wow, rocks the Cabana Coast rail but keeps it up.
Jumps the plank, goes just around this jump to jump the Captive 1 double. Unfortunately, A coming down.
She's going to be much quicker though.
And does do the 8 strides to the last.
And speedier with 4 and 36.54. She knocked about 4 seconds off of Nicholas Pizarro's time. Her 36.54 becomes the new leader, but there's still a lot of room for improvement here by just clearing this course. John Roche walking down Sydney Schulman. During the course walk, they were discussing their plan of action should they get into the jump off, and it's a good thing because she's here. Sydney riding on behalf of Israel, riding for Jules Schulman, her mother with Via Mora, who was a winner here last week.
Now this horse is very quick. I don't think she has to do as much of the leave-outs to still be faster or be quick. Still looking for her first clear round. I think she could do 8, 1 to 2 if she wanted. The horse is very quick across the ground and still have enough pace to carry her through and have the time.
She took the win in a winning round class last week where, of course, we had a designated number that would automatically qualify for the jump off. Not automatically, but if you were in the top 10, you qualified for that jump off last week, and she earned the victory aboard this mount, Via Mora.
Looks like she planned the 8 and horse played, still did 9. She needs to make up that time a little bit here. We'll see if she does the 6 or the 7. She does 7.
Bit of a small horse with a big heart here and a little bit of a shorter stride. Coming around the bend looking very efficient.
See the horse pull the shoe on the landing of that plank.
But doesn't miss a stride in the process.
No, very quick, great round.
Wow. Quick and clear and first in the ranking in 36.39. Even faster than Kristen's four-faulter. So 36.39 makes the target now.
See, she did the adding strides, even added 2 strides from in the first line, but she was very quick in her turns, quick across the ground. She was able to have a faster time and maintain the jumps, a clear round. So great on Sydney there.
Yeah, there's no point in leaving them out or going quick if you can't do it in a penalty-free ride, especially when you have this many in the jump-off. We'll see what happens now as Amy Miller comes to challenge out of Perth, Ontario, Canada, riding and carrying the flag of Canada here aboard Truman for Miller and Overland. 12-year-old Basel Francais gelding by Milord Carthago.
So this horse probably isn't as quick across the ground as Sydney's horse, so she'll have to do some of the leave outs, maybe think about being really neat in the turns. Unfortunately, having that second jump and the jump off down. See, she does the 6 here. Stays on the right side of that jump so she can be quick over to this plank. Horse hawks a little bit. Still working on 4 faults as she heads to the last jump.
And she's going to go just behind Kristen van der Veen with a 39.53 time into the third spot right now. 79.70, or excuse me, 39.53 that is, the 4-fault time there for Amy and Truman. And right now it's, again, Israel's Sydney Schulman leading the way, just like she was in the Premier Equestrian winning round class last week. But of course we've got team rider for the U.S., Peter Leone, up next here with Lion Share Farms Donner, 11-year-old bay gelding by Thunder van de Zuthove. Entry out of Bedford, New York. Peter, of course, splitting his time between there and Wellington. Let's see what he's got to offer here as far as a challenge to that 36.39 effort.
Peter does the 8 from 1 to 2. I'm really encouraging his horse away from the jump. Gets a big jump here at fence 15. Gets the 6, puts a bend on it, so he's already turning towards the plank.
By the way here, as I was watching the adjustment take place, those planks have gone into very shallow cups as opposed to the flat ones that we saw in the first round. So not as much of a chance of bringing them down. And they go up and over the last fence. Time 38.89. So that's about 2.5 seconds back from the leader, but a clear round anyway for Peter. Nicely done.
Yeah, I thought Peter gave that a very good round. Not the fastest horse in the class for sure, but he shaved time where he could. He encouraged his horse away from the jumps, and he did what he could to have a nice double clear round.
Coming up next is Natalie Dean aboard Chance Center Mel, Marigold Sport Horses entry out of Palo Alto, California. Last Sunday, we watched her post a 4th in this $230,000 Grand Prix on Sunday afternoon, and Chance Saint-Hermel trying to get another nice ribbon here today. 13-year-old bay Belgian mare by Calvaro.
See, she does the 7. This horse has a very big stride. Came off the right lead to the first jump, which we haven't seen yet. She'll do the 6 for sure here.
Oh, goodness gracious. Didn't see that distance coming around to the casino vertical, and last moment had a sort of second thought to get over it.
Yeah, unfortunately, just a little bit of a missed distance there at the plank, caught up to him through the double combination. Looks like Natalie and Chance are electing to withdraw.
They were sort of on the half stride approaching that vertical, and you can see here in the replay that they decided, well, let's just save it up, do something down the road here. Of course, they've got more big money classes over the course of the weekend. So Natalie not wanting to push it too far here with Chance Saint-Germain, especially after a really good week last week and her being a part of a team outing coming up tomorrow night. Again, the Major League Show Jumping team format, so interesting, so exciting to watch. We hope you're planning to join us for that, whether it be in person or on the broadcast. Natalie will be here for the Diamond Devils. And next we'll go to BZ Madden, riding Abigail Wexner's Breitling LS, World Cup champion, rider on 4 Olympic teams. This year she actually bowed out of Olympic selection after competing through the course of the summer on the tour there in Europe. Chose not to push Garant onward. Garant's a young horse that has several years ahead, and BZ just thought, you know what, this might be a chance for someone else to show on those Olympic teams. So she gracefully bowed out, but we still have her at the top of her game here, showing Breitling LS for Abigail Wexner.
BZ doing the 8 down the first line. Takes a nice oxer at the sunflower jump.
BZ number 21 in the world, highest ranked rider we've seen here in Traverse City this summer. And she's coming around with a penalty free. She's not going to be on the leading pace, but clear. And to the finish line at a time of 39.28 puts her into third place right now. It's Israel, US, and US, 1, 2, 3 respectively right now.
Yeah, I think BZ had a really nice, efficient round there, but certainly sights set on Sunday for her and Breitling in the 5-star Grand Prix.
Nice to see that a World Cup champion combination and a top-ranked rider are with us here in Traverse City, Michigan. It really is absolutely peak-level sport in our show jumping events here this year. Skylar Riley coming up next. She's here aboard Catherine Gallagher's entry, Robin de Pontual, as you mentioned earlier, a horse she's been competing on successfully for several years now. 16-year-old Basel Francais gelding by Elk Dior. Still looking for a breakout win in Traverse City. Let's see if she can get it today by beating 36-39.
Looked like Skylar could have done 7 up that first line, chose to do the 8, stay on the inside track here to 15. Definitely should do the 6. She does. Jumps that jump a little left. You want to be jumping that jump staying on the right side. She gets right over to the plank well.
Coming home now, penalty free, and I believe she's going to go into second place. Let's see. Clock stops there in 39.83. Actually, that will put her into fourth place, 39.83 into fourth.
Yeah, great double clear effort for this combination. This horse is really jumping well, I think, the last 2 weeks. I think Skylar and BZ had a similar plan, is to be fast, clear, and efficient, but save a little gas in the tank for Sunday.
Andrew Bournes of Ireland, the only Irish rider making it through. C-Top Blue is his mount. As I mentioned earlier, a winner in Grand Prix action in Valkensveld 2 years back. So several years success with Andrew. C-Top Blue is a 10-year-old Bay Dutch Warmblood gelding by Chaco Blue. Jill Schulman's Via Mora and Sydney Schulman, the rider for Israel. on her way to a potential second big win in as many weeks here in Traverse City. 36-39, still the time to beat.
Andrew doing 9 strides up the first line. Hustles down in the 6 to the Cabana Coast vertical. Regroups a bit. Gets his horse back for the plank as he makes a turn to the last line. It's the captive 1 double combination. Most likely 8 strides to the last jump. There he is. Great double clear
His
round.
time will be 42.53 without penalty here for Andrew Borens in C-Top Blue.
Andrew being a little bit patient in the beginning, probably wanted to do 8 strides, did the 9, picked it up in the middle of the course doing 6, and maybe a little reserved, but again, saving his horse probably for Sunday a little bit. Had a very nice double clear round, producing a very nice horse there.
Yeah, fairly conservative in the early phases. I didn't really turn it on until he made his way around after number 9, or after number 1, I should say, or on the way to 9. But here comes the winning combination of Dikas and Margie Engel. Riders for the U.S., of course. Stormridge Capital, Garber, Bartholomew Gladwin's Partners, LLC. Bring us Dikas, the 12-year-old bay gelding by Diorado.
This horse has a very big stride. We'll be able to do some of the leave outs. We'll see what she chooses to do. Does the 8 up the first line. Does do 7. Again, Sydney's round is looking faster and faster as we go.
And Dikas comes home penalty-free, time of 38.77. So she will go into the second spot just behind Sydney Schulman and Villamora. Yeah, as you said there, Villamora and Sydney Schulman's time in comparison with some of the later rounds here, sort of coming out quicker and quicker than we might have expected, and that with the adding of strides and some of the imperative lines that you were talking about earlier on. And that, of course, maybe a little bit shorter strided, but it definitely keeps those feet moving.
Definitely does. Still 2.5 seconds faster than second place Margie Engel and Dikas. So Sydney very strong with that round. Hoping to keep it up with these 3 riders left behind her.
Mexico and the U.S. are 3 remaining riders. 1 from Mexico and Juan Carlos Martin del Campo with the 13-year-old Gray Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Up to Date. This is Dimitri.
Dimitri does 8 strides. His rider guiding him along here to fence 15 to Sunflower. Oxer, see if he can do the 6. Elects to do 7 strides, needs to hustle over here to the plank. Takes the reserve distance there, unfortunately has it down. So sitting on 4 faults with 3 jumps left to go, 12A, 12B. And the last jump coming down as well.
And you could hear the frustration, the grunt, as they landed on the backside there.
Yeah.
And they will end up with an 8-fault finish in a time of 40.46.
And Juan Carlos was not happy about that last jump.
Coming in next is first of 2 left to go. It's Catherine Tyree with the Catherine Tyree LLC entry BEC Lorenzo. BEC Lorenzo, 11-year-old gray gelding by SIEC Livello.
And this is a fast combination that could certainly test Sydney Schulman and Villamora. We have two very quick riders remaining.
Winner in Traverse City here last year, just over a year ago, in fact.
She's going wide and winding up. Does do the 7, leaves it
Wow.
up.
Just skimming over 3 there.
Keep going for the 6. Thinking right without having it down. Good.
She may have a chance here. The amount of time saved in the air there as they use just enough effort to get over clear without over jumping. And they're coming home. Could do it.
Very quick, last jump.
Oh, goodness gracious. Their time is 36:34, and they would have had it by 5/100ths as well.
A great effort there. Exciting round. Unfortunately, all the way to the last jump. You see that horse give an extra effort there at B of the captive 1. I thought she did it, thought she had a nice ride up there in the 8, maybe just a little bit flat, and had that last jump down.
I mean, again, a horse that wasted absolutely 0 time anywhere, including up and over the jumps there. It's just unfortunate that as they were so narrowly over the rest of them, they didn't just make it over the final fence there. They had a quick time, 4 faults though, in, again, 36.34. We've only got 1 left to go. It is, of course, Kyle King in now, top 3 finisher in last Sunday's finale. And here he is now with Magic Mike, the 12-year-old dark bay gelding by Zapatero VDL for owner Elizabeth Killam out of Nicasio, California. Again, the time to beat, 36:39, since the very first clear jump off.
Does do 8 from 1 to 2. But very quick getting over to the sunflower jump. Put a nice shape in that as he's already bending right to the plank. He needs to hustle here. He needs to be really tight around this jump as he jumps the captive 1 double. He is. Got a good one in. Oh.
Down at the A element there and a little behind the pace as well. His time, 37.83. Kyle King with a 4 falter. That's going to be 2 weeks in a row that Sydney Schulman and Villamora net the victory. Nicely done from the very first clear round there. And that time of 36.39 goes uncatchable. So let's take another look at the list here. Again, we watched a great first round, narrowing down about 37 starters to 13 who would jump off. And at the finish line of that jump off, it's the top 6 who were the double clears. Villamora with Sydney Schulman for Israel. Margie Engel and Dekas for the U.S. Peter Leone and Donner for the U.S. BZ Madden and Breitling LS, and Skylar Riley and Robin DePuntual also for the U.S. in 4th and 5th. Andrew Bournes of Ireland rounding out those top 6. Of course, 3 of them will be coming in for the awards. And for the second week in a row in one of these feature events, we're going to be hearing the Anthem of Israel, for whom Sydney proudly rides in the ceremony, which is coming up as we thank Premier Equestrian. And again, I'm Brian Lookabill, also thanking Michael Morrissey for being with us as we have gone through the rounds here with all that insight in the 2-star and the 5-star events. In summary, what'd you think about it?
I thought it was a great class. We had quite a few clear rounds. Sydney Schulman really came out 2.5 seconds ahead, gave a great round, deserved that win, and we saw a lot of great horse and rider combinations finishing double clear. So exciting to see what the rest of the week brings. We got a great Sunday coming up with the 5-star Grand Prix as well as Major League show jumping, and its second week starting tomorrow night. Tune in for that at 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, indeed, and tomorrow that's not all we're going to bring you. I think, if I'm not mistaken there, Michael, you're going to be with us for a couple of other classes as well, and namely the events here tomorrow late morning, I believe, on into the afternoon. And look forward to having Michael back with us all the way through that team event tomorrow night. And then, of course, our feature Grand Prix classes that are scheduled to happen on Sunday. So tomorrow, tune in. Of course, we'll have streaming coverage of everything that happens on Saturday, but we'll have the insight of Michael Morrissey at least for the team event, if not as well for that Innovo Development Meter 45. We'll see if you're available for that. I know you've got some other things going on here on the grounds with some horse trials, etc. Remember, the reason Michael's got this great insight is because he himself is a Grand Prix level competitor. And then going into Sunday, of course, we've got the Premier Equestrian winning round, the NetJets Large Tour 2-star, and the 5-star Grand Prix. So as we're about to present the awards, thanks again for being with us, Michael.
Thank you, Brian. It was great to be here.
I look forward to having you back tomorrow, and we also will go ahead and turn you over, as usual, to our arena commentator and my friend, Mr. Andrew Pollard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the award winners. The top three for the Premier Equestrian 1m50 jump-off competition. They are led in by the winner for Israel, Sydney Shulman and Villamora. In second for the USA, Margie Engel and Dikas. And Peter Leone also for the USA with Donna in third. Ladies and gentlemen, in honour of the winning rider, could we please ask you to stand and remove cover for the national anthem of Israel? Well, thank you all so much. It is victory for Sydney Shulman and Villamora. Margie Engel and Dikas in second. But first, we'll get those official photographs for the third place finisher, Peter Leone and Donna. Once again, a very big thank you indeed to Premier Equestrian, the official footing provider for Major League Show Jumping, and we are thrilled and delighted to welcome Mark Meerhart and Heidi Zorn to offer their congratulations to third place.